Thanks, Scott. That was a fascinating presentation, and it covered a lot of areas of your business insight, right? So, if I may, you've covered this during your presentation, but if we can go back a little bit on the challenges you faced. You know, I think you had two main areas, one being in manufacturing capacity, and then the other in the warehousing capacity as well. So can you talk us back through that and how it impacted the business?
Yeah, so in terms of the manufacturing capacity, like I said, we've got one sort of buffer preparation suite, which serves 3 streams. So I'll put it into context. Some of our processes are using up to 50,000 litres of buffer per batch. So the cleaning solutions are not actually counted as part of that. So it's additive to it. So that was a real kind of easy place to take waste away, you know, to outsource the cleaning solutions. In terms of the warehouse capacity, we're running, so like I said, we're running sort of 90+% capacity. So one of the problems was, well, if you outsource, you need to buy in lots of IBCs, which are bulky, and we've got nowhere to store them. So we looked at, well, let's do some Gemba. We did some Gemba walks, looked at maximising the space that we had. So we actually increased our IBC storage area from sort of 40 IBC storage area up to 140, so about 300% increase. And that was just by sort of, you know, lean methodologies really, not massive changes. So and also by doing that and by doing outsourcing, we've removed the capacity from the warehouse, so we don't have to store tons of sodium hydroxide pallets anymore, or our 1,000-litre single-use bags.
Yeah, and from your lean work, you obviously identified that amazing 66 days in processing time as well, right?
Yeah.
That's obviously had a knock-on impact. Did that also inform the outsourcing decision in terms of the data you needed?
Yeah, I think that was really key to it, that we had the data to back up the decision, and we didn't just jump to outsourcing as the endpoint decision. We had data to sort of to feed upwards and to support the decision making. I mean, the 66 days, alone, like I said, that's quite a conservative value. I think we didn't account for the savings in quality assurance, quality control, all the other impact across the rest of the business. So yeah, it's way more than that, to be honest.
Okay, so again, you're very clear on your problem statement. You've done all the data analysis and worked that with management to say this is where we should go.
Yeah.
And so how did you then decide that outsourcing actually was a viable model for you?
Yeah, I think in terms of sort of managing upwards and managing sort of peers, it was basically the fact we did it via a green belt. We went through all the stage gate approach of measure, and you had all the time and costs. So I was actually demonstrating we've been through a process to come to an endpoint of outsourcing is the right decision, and being able to show that to the management team, that was the key really, rather than just saying we're going to outsource, because you immediately get people, we're giving them a level of control and trust away. So that's quite inherently, we're quite conservative in this industry, aren't we? So we like to keep control. So getting rid of that level of control, it's not really what we do.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's a personal win-loss for you there as well, right? If you outsource and you get it right, tick the box.
I mean, personally, this outsourcing is really, if we get this wrong, then it won't look good, especially as the first venture into outsourcing. So, it's really key that we nail it, and that's why we've taken our time, to be honest, to make sure we get it right, but absolutely the right thing to do.
Okay, and how did you determine which liquid you were actually going to outsource?
Yeah, so I think kind of two things here. The one is around sort of predictability of sort of supply. So for microbial processes, it's quite difficult. So, with mammalian processes, they're generally platform processes, so your buffers are more predictable. For microbial, it's a lot more difficult, and that was kind of touched on before. So we recognised that we couldn't really accurately predict what buffers we would use in the future. So we went after the easy ones that we knew what volumes would be. We also knew that making these changes for cleaning solutions and sort of ones that are sanitized in membranes or resin, customers generally wouldn't have any kind of objections to that, because it's not close to the product ultimately. So that was the two key elements. Okay.
And can you talk us through your experience in outsourcing and finding a partner? I know you talked about tendering as an approach. What was that like in terms of the actual process of going through it and selecting that partner?
Yeah, it was really interesting from my point of view, just working with different vendors and seeing their approach. and like I said, it was some vendors would give us sort of 80% of the solution, but the plug and play thing, some vendors just didn't get it, and unfortunately, that was kind of a problem for us. I mean, for the thermal, like I said, the face-to-face was key, and we came up and did a Gemba walk about a month ago, myself and our supply chain manager, and that's the kind of relationship that we want, that we're collaborating and actually working together rather than transactional.
Yeah, I guess in matching the two lean, Thermo Fisher Scientific has a lean operating model as well, right? So matching the two makes sense. And actually, I think one of the other things that I think you mentioned in your presentation was around the partnership.
Yeah.
But actually, the 1,000-litre IBCs in that process was something that Thermo Fisher wasn't in the offering, although we had capability. But through the dialogue, we found that. Is that correct? Yeah.
So and again, it came down to safety, really. So we didn't want loss of containment, and there's a problem with shipping. You can't ship that volume. But kind of like the similar question before, like 1,000-litre volumes are appropriate for our facility. We couldn't use bags, so we had to come up with an alternative solution. So IBCs we weren't offering. Obviously, with sodium hydroxide, you haven't got any sort of bioburden risk there. Your chemical stability is generally okay with the plastics. So it was a good viable option.
Okay, thank you. And as you look to the future, are there any other liquids now that you're looking at? You're still early on in this partnership, right? Are there other liquids you're looking at?
We're not looking necessarily at specific liquids. Like I said, it's quite hard to predict, but we are looking at what are the campaigns of manufacturing projects which are coming back on a repeating frequency, and then that will then probably drive, well, for a given project, we could outsource all the buffers for that given manufacturing process, rather than try and pick a phosphate buffer or an acetate buffer, because we just don't know where they're going to be used. So that's kind of probably where we'll go. Potentially looking at sort of more media as well. We do a lot of feeds for our fermentations from bags. So again, that could be a viable option.
Okay, so more modelling to be done.
Yeah, there's more work to do always. Yeah.
And then kind of lastly, what advice would you give to the folks here that are considering outsourcing in their production?
I think the key is kind of to do all your metrics first, to understand, where your waste is in your business really, and to recognize, then that'll help you recognize the value through outsourcing, and that might help massively with the management of the decision, and managing the upwards, but also kind of come up with your own user requirement specification almost. So for us, the plug and play thing was a massive part of our URS, but other clients might have different needs, but that's kind of the key really.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. If I can turn to our audience here, are there any questions for Scott?
Yes, I have a question, Scott.
Yeah.
Hold on. You are CMO, you have customer projects.
Yeah.
Did you also have to discuss, or did you also discuss with your customers about outsourcing buffers?
Yeah.
Would
So
they benefit or
yeah. So we're managing this change internally under a change control. So obviously, quality and regulatory will stamp their approval on it. Like I said, we've got 2 commercial processes, so we have to be aware of any sort of changes to their BLA submissions. But we've had conversations already with those, and we've got the green light. They've got no issues with making the changes, which is really good to hear. I think it might have been a harder conversation if there'd been process solutions. So again, that was why we kind of went after the caustic solutions first.
Thanks.
You mentioned before that you made the caustics in 1,000-liter sizes.
Yes.
So from a plug-and-play perspective, as you mentioned before, anything above 0.5 molar would have to be in a 200-liter container.
Yeah.
How did you bridge the gap between that and the plug-and-play philosophy?
Yeah. So as part of the project, we're going to get 200-liter supply as well. So so for our small-scale manufacturing assets, 1,000-liter IBC is just not appropriate in terms of footprint, because they are going to clean rooms. So we've got a kind of dual offering on the table. So it'll solve the problems for all our streams essentially. All right.
Any more questions? One more.
If you look at the cleaning solution, sodium hydroxide, what's the total percentage of the complete buffer volume you use on an annual basis you produce? So, rough idea.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's got to be up there, so around 20-30%, just for cleaner solutions. Yeah.
I'm from Legacy Patheon, also CDMO, CMO, and so I did the calculations for Groningen, and sodium hydroxide was about 10 to 12% of our total buffer volume output.
Mm-hmm.
Just one question as well. Did you consider any impact to working capital costs resulting from outsourcing in terms of if you need to carry any more or any less volumes of buffer?
So yeah, I mean that's kind of one of the places that we explored during the partnership, really, that having storage capacity is really key. So we partnered up with Thermo, and they helped us kind of fund the expansion and the solution for the IBC storage area. Like I said, that was kind of the partnership vision, really. But the fact that Thermo also have GMP warehousing in their network, that was really attractive to us, because, like you said, if there's a peak in demand that we need to call off more, but we don't have the place to store on our site, we have options to store elsewhere. So that was part of the thought process, yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, with that, I think I'd like to close the session, but I'd like to say a really great thank you to Scott and Nucci. Thank you.
Right. Cheers.